But pretend you're the real killer. You watch somebody else arrested. What if you go to the trial? It's happened. You're not going to get caught, not by these guys. They found somebody else. You watch the trial. You have to be amused. It has to be sort of funny, even though it's tragic. You're not worried about the fact that you kill somebody. It's amusing because you're going to get off. You watch the prosecutor in his opening statement appeal to the jury, point to the wrong defendant, call him a killer or a rapist, line up all this great proof they're going to have to put him away, and you're sitting there suppressing a smile. You watch the police testify, you watch them lie, you watch them bring in a jailhouse snitch who they put in the cell with the wrong guy, and now he testifies that he heard a confession, and in return he gets time off. You watch the state's experts from the crime lab take the stand with their suits and their degrees and all this and talk about hair analysis, bite mark analysis, footprint analysis, junk science that's still used in this country and has convicted many innocent people. You're amused. The case looks good. The jury is always on the side of the prosecution. There's no presumption of innocence. There's a presumption of guilt. And you watch the defendant as he sits there day after day taking this pounding, an innocent man. You watch him convicted. You watch him in the sentencing phase when they bring in some jackass psychiatric expert who says, oh yeah, he killed, I've evaluated him, and he's going to kill again. At that point, he gets the death penalty. You watch him hauled away. You feel good about the system. You got off. The years go by. The execution date gets closer and closer. And what do? Do you have the guts to let it run out, to watch him die? We don't know in this country by clear DNA proof, clear biological proof that we've ever executed the wrong man. There is some very strong evidence that we've done it several times. But one day soon, we will wake up to the realization that we've finally done it. There'll be the proof. It could be DNA, it could be something else, but clear proof that we've finally done it. We've streamlined the appeals so well. We are so efficient. We're so good at it. Somebody fell through the cracks. At that point, what are we going to do? As a society, as a democracy, as a culture, as a people, what are we going to do when we have the clear proof? I don't know. I don't know if we have become so hardened and calloused to the killing, the state-sponsored killing, that it really won't bother us. Could we be like one of our famous Supreme Court justices and say, well, you know, mistakes happen in the system. I'm not sure what we're going to do. But that's the story I want to write. Thank you.
Can I stop pretending I'm the real killer now? Because it's messing with my head. By the way, I did look through the obituaries this morning. There's no good stories. A couple of animated shorts. You might be able to get something out of there. Our next author is, you're all familiar. She has written a book about a boy wizard who is a vampire and has to find Waldo. If you're familiar with our next author's writing, it is hilarious and smart and wonderful. She's had a very interesting professional career. Her first book, Stiff. She's written for Salon, and her book now, Packing for Mars, I think you'll all find incredibly entertaining. Please welcome, if you may, the great I'm sorry. I don't know who you. I don't. Did they just select someone because it's not? No. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Mary Roach.
Thanks. Yeah, I actually remember when my publicist told me that I would be doing this event, she sent along a little snippet from Publisher's Lunch, and it said, BEA breakfast to feature Grisham, Rice, Stewart, and more. Anyway, I would like to thank BEA and also to commend them for their bravery for inviting the author of Stiff to talk at a breakfast feature where people are eating food. You're going to regret this. There's been a lot of talk about, my book is, Packing for Mars. It's an astronaut book. There's been a lot of talk about manned space exploration these past weeks and months. President Obama announced the latest NASA budget, and there's been some changes. We're not going back to the moon. It seems we're going to go to a near-Earth asteroid and then onward to Mars, and that's exciting. That's great. I'm happy with the changes. It's great to hear President Obama talking about sending people to Mars. It's just like, did you have to make the announcements right when my bound galleys were at the printers? Yes. Most books about space tend to be about the right stuff, all the heroics and the bravery. Everybody's all boldly going and boldly coming back, and you've got Captain Lovell and Apollo 13, explosion in the spacecraft. It's all very exciting stuff. My book is not entirely like that. It's a little bit different. I did speak to Captain Lovell. I didn't interview him about Apollo 13. I talked to him about Gemini 7. Now, Gemini, like all the Gemini flights, this was essentially practice for going to the moon. Gemini 7 was unusual in that it was 2 weeks long. At that point, the longest space flight had been 3 or 4 days. And the point of this mission, Gemini 7, was basically to answer the question, what happens when two people don't bathe for 2 weeks in a spacesuit, in a small space? Is it just sort of beyond the limits of human endurance? And the chapter is called Houston, We Have a Fungus. There's a rather memorable point in the mission transcript when the flight surgeon comes on the radio and he's speaking to Commander Frank Borman. So Gemini 7, this is the flight surgeon. Have you had any dandruff problem up there, Frank? That's just a word you don't really expect to see in a mission transcript. Also, lotion. It's like two men orbiting Earth talking about skincare. You had to kind of feel bad for them also because, bear in mind, this is zero gravity. So if you are having a dandruff problem, it's not falling to the ground. It's not falling to your shoulders. Actually, it's just floating. I asked Captain Lovell about this. I believe my exact words were, was it just like a snow globe in there?